So a couple of years ago, I reviewed the Unagi Model 1, and I really liked that scooter because of how it looked and how it functioned. And I called that the iPhone of scooters. But today I'm reviewing the follow-up for that, and this is the Unagi Model 1 Voyager. So the design language is pretty similar on this scooter. So it's very sleek. It looks a little bit futuristic, very nice clean lines. So the box that it comes in is not as cool as the previous version's box, but it still is functional. So you take it out of the box, and then you have this separate box that does have the main handlebar part and also some screws and stuff, and you just need to connect one wire, and then you place the handlebar into its place, and then now you just screw in 4 screws, and now you're pretty much ready to go. And this is a folding scooter, and it is a one-step mechanism. So you basically have these 2 little levers that you press down, and then now you can fold the handlebar stem down, and it locks into place. And now it's very easy to pick up this scooter. The scooter only weighs around 29 pounds or so, which is pretty impressive because it has a bigger battery which offers more range, but it still only puts the scooter 1 pound heavier than the previous version of this. But yeah, this is very easy to carry up the stairs because it doesn't weigh too much. And I love the mechanism. And when you're ready to ride, just do that same thing in reverse. Just hit the buttons, and then now you raise up the handlebar stem and it locks into place. And I had no issues with stability or anything like that. But just getting back to the way this thing looks. So it comes in 4 different colors. So you have black, you have blue, you have green, and also this latte color here, which is their kind of white version that does have some brown mixed into it, just like a latte. So I like here on the handlebars, the grips are nice and comfortable. They're very sleek. The one negative I would say is that you don't have a lot of space up here to add any attachments. So there really isn't a good place to really add a smartphone holder or maybe a cup holder or something. So that's one thing about it. But other than that, it looks really nice. The display is fully integrated into the handlebars as well. It's very bright at any time of the day. And the operation is very simple too. So you have this main power button that you press down to turn the scooter on. And from here, you can double press the button to be able to take it from single motor or dual motor mode. And then also you can press it one time to turn on the integrated headlight, which also performs well at night and also looks still very sleek. And then also you can triple tap to be able to put this in park mode. So when it is in park mode, if someone was to accidentally engage the throttle, it's not going to start or go anywhere. Now there are 2 additional yellow buttons. So the first one is on the left-hand side, and this is for the electronic horn, which is not really that loud. So I don't think anyone is really going to hear that if you're coming down a path. So I wish they would make that a little bit louder. And then when you press the other yellow button once, it will be rotating through the odometer and also your trip information. And then you can double tap it to go between the 3 different riding modes. So 1 is going to be for kind of beginners, and 3 is going to be able to help you get to that maximum speed of around 20 miles per hour. Now, when you are riding, you have 2 paddles to control the braking and also the acceleration. So the braking is on the left paddle, and when you press down on it, it will engage the brake light that's on the back as well. So that's nice to have. And it will also be engaging the dual electronic brakes. And then the paddle on the right, of course, is going to be engaging the accelerations. Also, these are pressure sensitive too. So the harder you press down on the brake paddle, the harder the brakes are going to engage. And the same thing for the acceleration. And so this allows you to feel very in control of this scooter. So when you do want to calmly come to a stop, you have that control over the pressure that you're applying. But you also do have a physical brake that you can engage at any time. And so this is built into the rear fender. So once you press down on it with one of your feet, it will go ahead and engage and slow down the scooter. So I like having that kind of second option or a backup option to braking. And if you do really need to get to a super hurry, you know, in a dangerous situation, you can do both, and that could really bring you to a stop in a hurry. All right, so now let's take this thing for a ride. So this is a kickstart scooter. So if you press down on the throttle, nothing's going to happen. You have to give it a little bit of a kick like this. And now you're off to the races here. And I am in dual motor mode here. So the takeoff is not super fast, but it's not bad at all, right? This will have around 32 Newton meters of torque. So not torquey, but torquey, enough torque for, again, casual riding and stuff. So just riding around right now, I'm at about 15 miles per hour. This is a little bit of a incline here on this particular road. But the good thing about these paddles just being responsive to how much pressure you put down is that, you know, like if this car is pulling out in front of me, I can just easily slow down on the brakes like I am now. And it just feels really good. And it doesn't feel like I ever had the chance to kind of, you know, flip over the handlebars or something when I am pressing down the brakes. Now the scooter doesn't go that fast for you to really have to worry about that, but you know what I'm talking about. Now the scooter does have dual 250 watt motors. So this was the same in the previous scooter, but this one does have a higher peak value coming in at 1,000 watts versus the 800 watts on the previous Unagi Model 1 Classic. Now what this extra peak power means is that if you are going up a hill like this, it'll be able to tap into that 1,000 watt peak power to get you up pretty nicely here. And this is a pretty decent little slope. I did try this in single motor mode and it was a little slow. We barely got up it, but here in dual motor mode, it ate it up like nothing. Now again, riding around with dual motors is actually the preferred way because it will give you longer range when you are riding around because you don't just have one single motor trying to push you along. So again, the range is between 12 and 25 miles. Now you do get some rattling here, and I think that's from the rear fender. You might be able to hear it. So it's a little bit annoying. It does make this scooter sound a little bit cheaper than what it really is. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. Hopefully they can do some type of sound dampening here with the next version. But now I'm gonna go down this hill that I just went up to just really showcase and test out the responsive braking that you have. So again, no hydraulic disc brakes, but the way they've designed these brakes is that I can slow down here and I'm just slowly pressing on this paddle and I can slow down as much as I want, but then I can just go ahead and take off. And so I will say I have used scooters that cost more than this one, but from the ones that I've used, this is some of the best control that I felt on a scooter. Like with the acceleration and braking, it just feels so nice. Now let's get low here for a second. So this deck or the footboard isn't really that wide. So I do find myself riding with one foot in front of the other, but I do like the fact that this is machined out of one single piece of aluminum. So it looks good and it's going to be very sturdy. The silicone rubber here at the top does provide a nice grippy surface, so I don't feel like my feet are ever going to slip off. And I do like the Unagi letters here as well. And since I'm down here, let's take a look at the cable management. So up front, you really just have two cables that go integrated into the frame of the scooter, so that's nicely done. And you do get a couple of reflectors, a couple of yellow reflectors on each side of the scooter, so that helps with visibility. But now let's talk about the tires. So the tires don't have any tubes. They're not air-filled at all. These are really kind of maintenance-free tires, which is nice, but they do have some air gaps cut out inside of them, and that is to try to help with the ride comfort. Oh, and right above both tires, you will be finding front and rear fenders. But now Unagi does market this as a city scooter. So if you do go off-road like this, you will see that it does fine, but the fact that this scooter doesn't have any type of suspension means that the tires are going to be responsible for giving you a smooth ride. And you can see we're slowing down a little bit, but now I'm back to the paved road. So the good thing is that you don't have to worry about these tires ever going flat, which is nice. But what that will mean is that if you do go off-road, it will give you a little bit of a bumpy ride. It's not gonna hurt you, but it's just not going to be, you know, the most comfortable thing that I would recommend on this scooter. So I definitely would say, you know, stick to the paved bike paths and the roads and stuff and try to avoid any potholes. And I'm gonna feel this right here with this bump. Whew. All right. So yeah, the lack of suspension does stand out for this scooter in the price range that is in, around like $1,200, because you can get scooters that cost less that have some type of suspension, at least a front suspension, and also some that have, you know, dual suspension. So if you are looking for a hybrid scooter, one that you can take on a paved bike path, but also off-road, this isn't going to be the choice for you. But if you do plan on doing mostly city riding and on, you know, paths that are kind of established and stuff, this is a pretty good ride. The air gaps in the tires do a good enough job to where it's not annoying at all. Now I weigh around 220 pounds, a little bit more because I had a big breakfast today. So I'm actually over the recommended weight limit for this scooter. And for me, my top speed, I think I did get 17 on a really good day with not a lot of wind and on flat terrains. Now, if you weigh less than me, you have a better chance of getting that 20 miles per hour. And as far as range, you can get between 12 and 25 miles, and that depends on how much you weigh. But on the higher end of the range, you're looking at an 8-mile difference between the previous version of this scooter that can only get around 12 miles. So 20 miles is still a nice little upgrade for you. And as long as you know how far you're going, you shouldn't have a problem with this. But again, it's very light. So if you do run out of battery, you can always just pick this thing up and easily load it into the back of an Uber if you needed to. Now, two of my biggest complaints about the previous model of the scooter dealt with the kickstand and also the charging port cover. Now, one of them is fixed, but it's not the kickstand because it still is kind of short, and also the surface area of the tip of it, it's not really that big. So even on something like this where I have a little gravel, it kind of sinks in a little bit sometimes, and I sometimes have to kind of really make sure that the kickstand is locked into place before I let go of the scooter. Now, my suggestion for a fix would be for them to use that type of kickstand that I'm starting to see more on some of these rental electric scooters, where it's actually just centered underneath the scooter and also just props it up sitting straight up, instead of having one of these kickstands that leans to the side. But it might not work with the whole sleek design that they're going for, but that would be my suggestion. Now, the second problem I had with the first version was that the charging port cover is very close to the kickstand, so I could accidentally open up the charging port cover when I use my foot to engage the kickstand. But that hasn't happened on the second version, so I'm not really sure if they made any changes to it, but it does seem to be harder to accidentally come undone just by you brushing your feet against it. So that's good. Now, there's also an Unagi app that you can download on your phone, and this can do a lot of the same functions that you can do on the scooter, like changing the different riding modes and going from single to dual motor mode. And then also you can enable e-lock, so you'll need to have your phone with the app installed next to or just near to the scooter to be able to start it and be able to start riding. And when you also pair your scooter with this app every few weeks, you need to actually kind of sync up the app with the scooter. If you don't, you won't actually be able to power it on and ride the scooter normally. So that acts as a really good security feature. But okay, is this still the iPhone of electric scooters? I would say yes at this point, not only just because of the design, but also because of the price. So this does come in at $11.90, not $11.90, but $1,190. And so for this price range, which is pretty high, there are other scooters that cost hundreds of dollars less that will give you some suspension. And some of them might actually give you a little bit more range, but not by too much. But Unagi feels very confident in their approach to this electric scooter, not only focusing on the design of it, but also really making it kind of maintenance free for the most part. But if you ever do need to get some help with it, they have pretty good customer service that I have experienced. So that is one good thing going for them. And then you can also rent this scooter too. So if you don't want to pay the full price outright, you can rent it for $69 a month. Now, $69 a month is still a lot of money in my opinion, but what you're getting for that is going to be, if anything ever happens to the scooter, they will send you a refurbished replacement very quickly. But if you do pay an extra, like $10 or maybe $15 or so, I can't remember, they will send you a brand new scooter as your replacement. But you know, $70 a month, that price is up there. So I don't know, I might still lean towards, if I really just want to get this scooter, just paying outright for it. So I'm not worried about the rental process. But yeah, the price is really up to you as far as what you want to get from your scooter. But that's all I got for you right now. I'm gonna leave a link down to the scooter down below this video in the description box. So go ahead and check that out. You can pick up one for yourself if you want to. And also drop your comment down below and let me know what you think about this Unagi Model 1 Voyager. And also the regular Unagi Model 1 Classic is still available for a lower price as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's in the 900s or so. So you can still get that one if you want to. But that's it. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching this video. I will catch you later. Peace.